We must put dialogue at the forefront of our political objectives and the political strategy. We have always said that the problems of this country can be resolved via dialogue.
Chokwadi pasi pano taiona moto marongera vanoita wepanyika vanoda kudesu vamwe tioneswe moto dai pasina kupindira kwaishe nechokwadi pasi pano taiona moto marongera vanoita wepanyika vanoda kudesu vamwe tioneswe moto dai pasina
Some have argued that Zimbabwe is a two-race political party state. We have seen in the past that every election season there have always been two major political parties that have been made. From ZAPU and ZANU, ZANU-PF, ZUM, ZANU-PF, MDC, and now it appears that we have ZANU-PF and CCC. These are the political issues that are being raised ahead of the general elections in 2023. But the MDC says it's still a force to reckon. It's a force that cannot be forgotten. And it's a force that is willing to challenge for presidential power come elections next year. Now, joining me in studio to discuss the state of the MDC, the political economy of Zimbabwe, is none other than the chairperson of the MDC, Komichi. On this, the situation right now, with me, your host, Dara B. Join me just after this break. Welcome back to the situation right now on this Heart and Soul TV and radio, where we give you alternative views, the platform where every Zimbabwean can be heard. Now on this, the situation right now this week, I'm hosting the MDCT chairperson, Komichi. The state of the MDC, the road to 2023, and the state of the economy and the politics in Zimbabwe. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you so much, Darabi. Thank you so much to all listeners. I'm happy to be with you today.
Now let's just start from the state of the MDCT as a force ahead of the 2023 general election.
The MDCT, or MDC as a party, has been a great force in opposition politics since its inception. That is when it was being led by President Mwonzora. Remember, we won almost all elections that were on record. The most public one was the 2008, in which Mwonzora defeated President Mugabe, took over the control of parliament, took over the control of councils. It was tremendous. I remember in 2018, when it was under the leadership of National Chamisa, he contested quite strongly against President E.G. It was almost 50-50 in terms of the results as the same record, 50-50. This is the MDC. So MDC is known for its history. Admittedly, currently MDC is not doing one, as shown by the outcome of the 26 March by-elections and the preceding by-elections that have come. We have had challenges. But we know the animal that we are sitting on. We know the capacity that is in MDC. We know the history that is with MDC. We know the talent that is with MDC. So it is a force that cannot be ignored. It is a force that cannot be taken for granted. It is a force that can shock the world. In other forums, I've spoken about what the biblical Saul did. The Saul was a man who was against Jesus. The Christians did not want to see him. They hated him so much, and they feared him. But there was the Damascus moment in which there was total transformation of Saul to Paul.
Let me just stop you there. When you're talking about the Damascus moment, what would be the Damascus moment for the MDCT?
It is always in management, the realization of mistakes that we have made for the organization not to perform well.
What are the mistakes?
Yes, of course. The research is so clear today. The people know what is going on with MDC. The current MDC is perceived as a ZANU-PF project.
Is it not?
It's not. But it has been perceived. The people have believed. The people it's now one of their strongest debates. Wherever we move now, people call us ZANU-PF people. That's the Damascus moment that I'm talking about. That is the biggest error which MDC did. It did not realize that the vision that it took is not the vision for the opposition politics. There is always a vision for the opposition politics. And this is the Damascus moment I am admitting today. We are going to be the Paul of our time. We are going to rebrand MDC in every aspect. In structures, in vision, in operation. It's going to be rebranded. And it will be the Paul of the time of Jesus.
When is this rebranding going to take place?
Starting from the Congress. We are going to be rebranding in this. And we are going to use the Congress as the moment for rebranding. We cannot afford to let MDC die in natural death. We cannot afford to see MDC being a forgotten organization. No, we cannot do that. We are going to save our organization, to save our party from anything that we have done that was wrong. We have to have a total transformation, 180-degree change of vision and strategy.
You say your Congress. Are you saying your party leader, Douglas Mwonzora, is waiting for Congress so that he can begin to transform from his vision that he has been talking about, the vision which chiefly can be summarized in his own words, rational disputation?
Rational disputation is one of the visions which betrayed us. We failed to identify ourselves with opposing people. We were taken as if we were identifying ourselves with ZANU-PF because of rational disputation as a vision. It was not defined properly. It was not understood by the people. So we sat down as a party soon after the by-election, 26th by-election election. And we agreed on the way forward. And we agreed that rational disputation on its own played a negative role in the perception in which we have the people today. So at the National Council, we agreed that we're going to go radical, confrontational. People might think confrontation means taking up arms against ZANU-PF. No. Section 59 of our constitution clearly states that the people of Zimbabwe with the right to demonstrate against the government. And to me, that's confrontational.
How do you become confrontational, Chairman Komichi, when, for instance, just a few weeks ago, your party made its first appearance at Poland? How does that? According to the feedback that we got from our president, the president was invited, the President Nanga, he did not join Poland. He went there to meet with the Poland leaders, but he did not join.
That is what we know, and is what we given as the feedback by our president.
So you are saying your president gave you feedback, so you didn't know when he left for that meeting?
I for sure I didn't know. But you can be in Poland and be radical. You can be in Poland and still oppose NPF. We got a very good example of Professor Madu. He is in Poland, but he is very opposing. When things are wrong, he's quite, he quickly jumps on the podium and says, no, this is not supposed to happen. So really, Poland, you can go to Poland, but that does not stop you from being radical. This should not stop you from opposing what is supposed to be opposed.
You spoke about going to Congress. When are you going to Congress?
It will be in December. That is before Christmas. The MDC will have held its Congress.
I want us to maybe just zero in on this Congress. You are riding on the structures of the 2014 Congress. Yet you're only supposed to have a term of 5 years. Do you think the people who are holding office today are legitimately in office, and why so?
Our Congress is overdue. We were supposed to have held our Congress in March 5 this year, but due to some other curtailments and challenges, we postponed them. The first challenge that we had was the 26th by-election. It affected us. Then soon after that, we wanted to make sure that we were going to go with the Congress with the new structures. We were building up structures, but fundamentally, the finances were not doing good to us. So, for you to do a proper organization program to put structures into funding. So that is one of the constraints that we've been having. So we've been postponing due to these two major issues, these structures and as well as funding. So as soon as the funding is going to come, definitely we'll finish off our structures.
Is that not a sign of...
And we'll be able to do our Congress.
Is that not a sign of failure of leadership on your part to fail to raise funds for your Congress?
I can't say that, because even the government is also failing to raise funds. And the many other companies are closing down because they are failing to raise funds. The economy of the country as we speak right now is not conducive enough for anyone to do good business. So we are one of the victims of the economic decay that is there in the country.
Does your constitution recognize bad economic environment as a reasonable excuse to violate your own constitution?
You are not supposed to violate the constitution, but should be in a position to explain and admit, as I am doing now. I am not hiding it. I am telling you because I don't want you to think otherwise. These are things that have really been delaying us. If we had enough resources, we would have done the Congress long back. But due to the constraints of the economic challenges, we have been postponing. This is an admission.
This is the longest time in the MDC that there's been no leadership renewal, is it? In terms of holding Congress. Because since founding in 1999, you religiously held your Congresses.
Yes, of course. We have had challenges. Remember, our first challenge was when President Morgan Tsvangirai passed on. We had some legal challenges about his succession congresses. Things were delayed, and people had to take each other to court, and finally the Supreme Court had to intervene. A decision was made. At least we had an EOC, a Southern Congress that was held in the 27th of December 2020. And from there, definitely 6 months down the line, we were supposed to have at least organized an ordinary Congress, which was affected by what I've just mentioned, resources, structures, and
but you received a huge payout from government, didn't you?
Yes, of course. We did.
What happened to that money?
The money did other things. Other things, building the party is not only structures alone. There are other things that you also need to do for the party to survive.
Are things well in the cockpit of the MDC team? Is everything okay?
We are a democratic party, and we do believe in democracy. However, I've always said When you want to implement democracy, there are things that happen in the process of implementing democracy. At a national level, as we go towards elections 2023, we are implementing democracy, but you are going to encounter a lot of serious violence, name calling, hate speeches, physical fights. They're going to happen in the name of implementing democracy. So people outside there, they will say Zimbabwe's cockpit is not stable, things are not right. So even at a small scale, coming down to the party, when we implement democracy, there's always these counter accusations, name calling, labeling each other, condemning and labeling each other, labeling and condemning each other. That happens, but it's natural. It's actually those are the tenets of democracy as you go. At the end of the day, you must look at the bigger picture. Is the Congress going to happen? Are we going to come out with the leader of our own choice? Are we going to renew the party? Are we going to have a holistic bent in which Paul is going to emerge and things are going to change, MDC will be great again?
Are things okay in the cockpit of
Yes,
MDC?
Yeah, okay. What I've mentioned to you are normal activities of democracy.
At one point, in a meeting that you were sitting there, your president was accusing some of your of the MDC team member, or those who want to contest him, rather at Congress, of wanting to win president and take Harvest House to the doorstep of Nelson Chamisa and his CC. And most people believe he was talking about you.
No.
Are you denying that he was talking about you, or you're denying that he said it?
I'm saying people were talking about me. I was the targeted person because that appeared in the tweet, I think, in the tweet. And the media took it up and they wrote quite extensively. And in that write-up, my name was actually on the write-up. So it's actually known that it's me who was being referred to. But I say, how stupid would I be? Do I look stupid? Do I look abnormal? Do I look as a person who will not be able to revive MDC? MDC, in certain circumstances, I played key roles for it to revive. Remember when MDC almost declined in 2005? I was one of the key people who was in the front to revive MDC for us to win the 2008 elections when I commanded the DRC. In 2013, when we lost to ZANU-PF, I was again among the top 3 people who sat down around the table and strategized on how to revive the party. And we came out with what we called the MDC party leader to occupy my headquarters. Harvest House is the shrine of MDC, the citadel of power. It is where we belong. And that's the power, is the power center of our circle. How can we do that? If I win the MDC president, I will consolidate MDC in Harvest House. I will not hand over Harvest House to anyone. I will not sell Harvest House. If I do that, I will have sold my soul, and God will kill me. Legally, I don't have the power to tamper with the property of MDC. Remember, because the Supreme Court was very clear on who really owns the MDC property. It is the MDC stakeholders. These are MDC membership and supporters. Legally, I have no power to transfer headquarters to anyone. Politically, I don't have, again, I'm just an individual. The political power is derived from the supporters who are all over Zimbabwe. So how can Ben Morgan be found to have the power to transfer headquarters to another political leader? This is cheap politics. This is propaganda. It must not be taken seriously by any normal human being.
And again, I will ask this question. This is the pilot and co-pilot in sync with each other. Because you are talking about this mudslinging. You also mentioned to us here that when your party president left from wherever he left, headed to State House, where I was ejected a few days ago, didn't even inform you as the chairperson of the party.
But he informed the vice president. Chief Law was informed. I think he felt it was enough that he communicated to Chief Law. Yes, of course he did that. That was his choice. He's the president. Sometimes he got the prerogative.
Such a huge decision that you say in your submissions, in your own submissions, have affected how the party is perceived by people. It is made at the prerogative.
People don't understand Pollard. People think Pollard is the ZANU-PF project. So any association with Pollard, you are labeled ZANU-PF compatriot. It's true. But he made a decision. But he since informed one of his vice presidents. I know Chief Law was informed. But after that, he called for a briefing. We got a briefing.
Did you manage to listen to the opening remarks of President Emerson Mnangagwa during the Pollard meeting, because it was broadcast?
Unfortunately, I didn't.
Where he said he welcomes the MDCT President Douglas Mwonzora to the forum. And if it was just by invitation, he sat through the entire meeting of Pollard, and he was welcomed to Pollard as joining the forum. Is that in sync with the feedback that you received?
No. The feedback that we got was that he was invited to give a briefing on what we had recommended before for some improvements in the structures of Pollard, and that is all what he had gone there for. About joining, no, he did not tell us that. Actually, he said he didn't join.
Now, let us look at the state of Zimbabwe as we go to the 2023 general election. What is your view about our nation?
Politically and economically. Politically, our country is highly polarized. Our country is like a country going to war. In my other discussion, I've described the elections in Zimbabwe as a civil war, in which the political parties would be prepared to shed blood and die for their victory. And the other political parties will be able to shed blood and die to defend their power. And the conditions that I can engage and see in Zimbabwe today, they are quite right for that. Potentially, Zimbabwe is going to experience one of the worst electoral violence in our history, because the stakes are very high next year. The economy is unfavorable for the ruling party. People have suffered enough economically in Zimbabwe. So, the economic situation and the political situation are twins. If the economic situation is not favorable, the political situation won't be favorable. So I've called upon the leadership of this country to take responsibility and accountability for the fate of the people of Zimbabwe's next stage. As we foresee a highly explosive electoral situation in Zimbabwe, probably second or worse than the 2008 electoral conditions.
You say the economy is not right, but the ZANU-PF led government has said they're ticking all the boxes. Tulingwe says, it's time for the NDS1 National Development Strategic Plan. He also has successfully, as he says, tamed the inflation of the local currency.
Yes. Zimbabwe environment, even if you look for the best economist in the world and look for the best governor in the world, the economy will not grow anyway. Will not grow anyway. What we are going through with the Komichi and the governor, the current governor today, we saw it during Gono's time. It might have a different texture or a different taste, but the similarities are there. The economy reflects itself, its presence in the pockets of the people. When the people are not feeling it, there is no inclusive growth in that economy.
Are you not feeling it?
I'm not feeling it. I'm feeling the greatest poverty of my time. You are aware that Zimbabwe is 49% of the Zimbabwean population are living in abject poverty. So I can't be proud to preside over a country in which 49% of its population lives in abject poverty. Mutule has tried this. He's a renowned economist. But economically, nothing is moving for the people. It might be moving for them, they up there, moving for the ZANU-PF leaders and other people, but not for the general public. Of late, we've heard reports from ZBC workers complaining, want to see the president of the country. Have you ever heard about this? Since you were born, that ZBC workers, they want to go and see the president. Pass through the parliament, which is pathetic.
What's pathetic about parliament?
Recently, we were supposed to hold the pre-budget briefing yesterday. It had to be postponed because of the economic challenges. So things are not well. Go and speak to the teachers today. They are earning peanuts. Salary at teachers who to speak right now, the pensionable salary is less than $45. Is that normal for a human being to live on $45? Young boys and girls here, they have no future to plan. They don't see any. There's dilemma in this country. The economy is not true. We are currently one of the world's highest inflation. In terms of the international index, we are the most disappointed human beings. The index of the smile, we are almost number 55 out of 185. We are disappointed nation. In terms of corruption, 155 or 185. What kind of a country is that? Can you be proud to be the second of a country? If we fail to Zimbabwe to come down and think about how can you improve one country. It's so disappointing when you know that Zimbabwe holds one of the greatest amount of gold down there. When you know that this country holds the greatest diamond down there, platinum down there, good soils, good sunshine, good rains. But its people are not happy. I am not happy as an individual. And I know you're not happy, Big Dad. I know all my daughters are not happy. All these my sons are not happy. Because we are living in a country which is not conducive for any economic development. But even the entrepreneurs, they cannot do. If you are a faithful Christian-based entrepreneur, you don't do business in Zimbabwe.
But we
Only
see
when you are a thug, an armed robber, and a thief, you can do business in Zimbabwe.
But we see multitudes of people attending ZANU-PF rallies, dancing, chanting slogans. I mean, clad in brand new.
What ZANU-PF has done is caused extreme poverty among people. And being again a party that is in government, it's not providing the freebies. So the people that go to ZANU-PF want to go and get my food aid, massive presidential input aid, assistance. So ZANU-PF has created an environment, and people, and then it has come to the people as the savior. That's all. But if you go there and check for a smile, they have no smile. They are not happy. Probably that's why you see a big number of people that are corrupt in this country are foreign people. Because they got access to the resources. So they would want to grab everything so that they can improve their economic status and everything else. But no one is happy. No one is happy at all. That's why the Afrobarometer of last year or so, 2021, many people said if we are going to have a GNU in this country, we're going to be happy. And we had 73% of the Zimbabwean population advocated for the GNU, in which 66% of ZANU-PF people said they also wanted GNU. So why would they want the GNU if they were happy? They are not happy. They have no choice. They are victims. They've been captured. Because the economy in this country is so painful. So painful, I cannot bear it myself.
Now, looking from your prognosis of what the political situation in Zimbabwe is like, do you see a possibility or even a room to have a free and fair election that might end up changing the outcome of the poll to reflect the happiness of the people?
It's unfortunate. Very unfortunate indeed. Elections will not resolve anything in Zimbabwe. Elections have never resolved anything in all countries that went for the liberation struggle. They've never, at any time, used elections as a way of resolving the economic challenges.
Zambia,
there's never been. Let me give you the truth. Zimbabwe went to the liberation struggle for 17 years. Mozambique went to the liberation struggle. Tanzania, Mozambique. Namibia, South Africa. Angola, Uganda, and Rwanda. These people went for armed struggle. Zambia did not go for the armed struggle, it was a passive resistance. Malawi didn't go for the armed struggle, it was again a passive resistance. Just like Lesotho. Lesotho, it also went for, it was a passive resistance. There was no armed struggle there. Technically, if you look at those countries that really held guns and killed each other and fought for some years to get independence, none of those countries, they've used elections as a way of transforming their country politically and economically. So that will not happen. So I've done my research. I'm speaking here not as the national chairman of the party. I'm speaking here as Komichi, as an academia in this particular field. There's nothing like that. This I can guarantee you. That's why I'm telling you today that next year's elections will be very violent, because the environment outside there does not favor the ruling party. So they will defend themselves. As what they did in 2008, they defended themselves after we thrashed them. Remember, Morgan Tsvangirai got 73.8% victory over Mugabe. But look at what happened thereafter. More than 400 lives of young people, the women and boys were murdered. So many homes were burned down. There was a serious internal displacement. We kept more than 1,000 people at Harvest House for 3 to 4 months. We had millions of people that went to Mozambique, Zambia, and South Africa, running away from this violence. So be ready for it again. It's going to come next year.
But you talk of a Damascus moment of the MDC before Christmas, preparing yourself to awaken as a giant ahead of elections, and yet here again you're telling me that elections is just a waste of taxpayers' money.
It's a waste of time. This I can rest assure you. It's a waste of time. I have an option which I believe would resolve the economic quagmires of this country.
What is it?
My option is very clear. Zimbabweans need to have an inclusive national dialogue. When we talk about the national dialogue, people misunderstand us. The national dialogue that I'm talking about is inclusive of all political parties that matter. And it must involve the civil society organizations such as churches, labor unions, women and youth,
Let me just stop your tracks.
business community.
Let me just stop you in your tracks there and ask you to explain the term political parties that matter. Can you explain that?
Yes, of course. There are more than 100 political parties here. They must at least have a threshold. There are a threshold to be reasonable. Otherwise, you would end up having 150 political parties on the national level. we should be able, as Zimbabweans, to define a threshold that would be closer to nature. We have here MDC, we have here CC, we have here ZANU, we have NCA, many others. But really, they should be really considered for that. But it must be inclusive. The voice must be represented. It now needs, before you go there, you must go to a point where you forgive, where you do not take power as an issue, where you take your feeling for the people of Zimbabwe that have suffered economically, where you stand aloof and say, we have a common conflict, and the common conflict that we have, all of us here, is the economic conflict. Where you run away from saying, you need to do a ZANU, into a MDC, into a CC, and say, yes, those are the politicians. But here, look at the issue that has affected the Zimbabweans. What has affected the Zimbabweans is the economic challenges, the economic crisis. And we must, all of us, form a frontier in which we want to deal with the economic crisis for the benefit of these young people that you see here. And the women that you see in the toiling in the streets. The women that you see seated over Pazoa Chitengesa Maoris and Matomatis. I want leaders, whether you are from MDC, from CC, from ZANU-PF, please to join my feeling. I am bleeding when I move in town and I see Wanawa Chitambula. When I move in town and I see Mwanamdiki Chitengesa Masweets, Mwanamdiki, a street kid Chitengesa Masweets. And I see, and then I ask myself, to what extent would that young man live or young girl live? So I want leadership to take that feeling, that responsibility, and put aside the question of power. Power is something that we can talk about. Power is something that we can share. Power is something that you can work together and distribute power among yourself, but be able to save the lives of the young people that I'm looking to at now. The young people that I'll be meeting when I leave this room in the street. The economy that I would want, which is promising. During our time, Big Data, we used to plan the future. At one juncture, I simply left Zesa and went to Bulawayo and bought a new car. 3 months down the line, I went back to my bank again, I bought another new car. That was in the 90s. So we could plan as my youth. We could see the future as my youth.
You were not corrupt then.
The economy was good. But today, you can't do that. They cannot do it. This is so better talking about dying moments of our lives. So, what I'm saying is, as black Zimbabweans, can we be proud of ourselves as people that are educated? Educated to be innovative in approach in everything that we want to do. Innovative in creating an environment which will make good life for our own kids. So, my call to President Mwonzora right now, my call to President Mwonzora right now, my call to President Nelson Chamisa right now, withdraw from the fights that we are now. Come back to the negotiating table and negotiate for the people of Zimbabwe. And share the power that you are fighting for the good of the Zimbabweans. We got 42 years of independence, but I'm not proud about my country. I'm not proud about the economy that I'm presiding over.
Do you think those conditions are right, or the ego of your leaders are right?
As one of the leaders, it's right to me. Because I've actually seen and felt and sympathized with my people. I would not want to be a leader who does not feel for his own people.
But I want to get this from you, Chairman Komichi. How do you think these conditions are right for a national discourse and a national dialogue when in your party you weaponize Harvest House as an election issue? You, as you said, there are lies that you would take Harvest House and hand it over. And this is weaponizing it.
It's not weaponized.
Weaponizing a building, imagine the whole country.
This is not my building, it's mocking.
I mean those who have accused you. I mean those who have accused you, they've weaponized it.
Yes, of course.
They've weaponized it against you.
Yes, of course.
And I'm saying
The whole strategy behind that was to make me hate by MD supporters. Was to create a situation in which MD supporters will look at Morgan Komichi as a sellout. Morgan Komichi as a person who is power hungry. Morgan Komichi who does not care about the well-being of the party. Unfortunately, that is not working.
So that therein lies my question. At the nucleus, at the very small, minute point, you have bitterness harboring within the MDCT and weaponizing each other to win power. Imagine power at State House. I mean, imagine, what would you do for it?
Look at
if you are fighting for Harvest House.
But there must be a leader who should come out and talk about this. And I'm one of the leaders who has come out to talk about this. I'm trying to educate others that have not understood that. And I want President Mnangagwa to take the lead, Nelson to take the lead, Douglas Mwonzora to take the lead, to make sure that at least at this particular juncture, let us look at our people that we are purporting to be leading. Look at them, how they are moving, how they unhappy they are. Look at what they are longing and missing, what they would wish to see in their own country, and say things that is prevented us from doing this is power. Let's put power aside for now. Let us put political contestation for now and look at the economic contestation. Look at that we deal with issues of economy. Let us maximize that. And we can maximize that if we become brothers and sisters and sit around the table. Other than waiting and waiting and waiting. I've asked a simple question. Why is the government eager to go for election when we know the outcome already? Whom do they want to please? Do we have a master who is forcing us to do the elections?
Constitution.
Do we have a master who is stopping us to dialogue ourselves? Are we free as Zimbabweans? Do you know African people have got their independence, but they lack freedom?
Who is our master? If you tell
Whom are we trying to please? Because a moral issue is a dialogue. A moral issue will unite us. Dialogue will unite us. It will have immediate benefits for the Zimbabwean economy, for peace and unity, national healing, and economic development. National dialogue. It's immediate. It has got immediate benefits. It's a moral issue. No one in the world over would condemn this country for negotiating to itself. No one in the world, Britain, America, Russia, or China, would condemn the people of Zimbabwe for having an approach to dialogue. No one would do that. But we are ashamed. We are afraid. Whom are we afraid of? Whom do we want to please by going through a process that will kill our youth next year? A process that will have our homes burnt. A question that will have us more isolated as Zimbabweans by the village community. Whom do we want to please? Which means we don't have the freedom I'm talking about. We've got the independence, but the freedom of mind is not there. This must sink in President Mnangagwa right now, sink in Nelson Chamisa, sink in President in Mwonzora, and say, let's dialogue, gentlemen. Let us look at ourselves. Let's transform some of these things. Do you know why we are doing that? Because we want to place certain people for the governing structure or governing system that is imposed on us. The elections is the governing system that was imposed on us. It has no originality of an African person. It has no culture of African person.
Are you suggesting we go to chiefs?
No. You say, why? Do you know why we go to school? One person said we don't go to school to come and claim Pythagoras theorem. No. We don't go to school to come and rewrite the laws of Newton. No. We go to school to be innovative. That's why today, if you ask me about the maths that I did when I was one of the best mathematicians of our time, but I can't remember even a single statement differentiation, integration. I can't remember. The whole process of education is about creating innovative mind. What I was saying now, the Zimbabweans, you've gone to school, you've got professors, you've got doctors, you've got master's degrees. People must now come back and say, the environment that we are looking at today, for the 42 years, what is it that we must do? We have got an African identity and African culture, which is homegrown. One of the things that I want to attack is the governing system. The governing system that Zimbabwe and Africa are using are not original. So we are gliding on a vehicle that we cannot drive. As a result, we are not able to govern properly. We are not able to transform the minerals that we have from the ground into beneficiation. We are not able to understand each other. We are not respect unity, not respect unity. Because we are using a system where we are being monitored. It's not us that don't have the freedom. I personally would advise the people of Zimbabwe to sit down right now. If the people of Zimbabwe will sit down right now, these young people that you are seeing are going to benefit immediately. The economy will stabilize, the dollar will stabilize, inflation will stabilize, and economic growth will start to be realized. Currently, we don't have that opportunity. And we have no plan, we have no future. I am calling for the new governance system in which it will be homegrown, Zimbabwean based, African based. I can challenge the entire Africa today, from Cape to Cairo. You are independent as blacks, but you don't have the freedom. Don't have the freedom. And we should be doing things that will give us the freedom.
I mean, we are running out of time here, but just a few critical questions as we close, Senator Komichi. You spoke about these three men, President Emerson Mnangagwa, CCC leader Nelson Chamisa, your party president Douglas Mwonzora. Moving away from the glares of the camera, in the depth of your heart, do you trust these three to do the right thing?
The moment you claim to be a leader, you must be accountable and be responsible. There is no excuse at all. Whether I trust or I don't trust, then we must force them to be accountable and responsible. Remember when I called for a confrontational politics? We have to be confrontational in nature and approach to make them negotiate. Because if we just tell them by talking banal, they will never do that. We must create an environment, a situation in which they have no choice. We must tell them that you are sacrificing us. We must tell them that you are making our life difficult. We must tell them that you are making us being slaves. You guys, wherever you are there, you got access to the economy of this country. You are beneficiaries, you are benefiting. Isu tiri pasi panapa atisi kubenefita. So zvenyu zvekusina muchitukana muchinetsana muchikondesana power ndezvenyu toda kuti mugadzise economy. Again, the people of Zimbabwe must take upon themselves to demand that these leaders must meet and dialogue.
Do you have confidence that December MDCT Congress will be transformative and Damascus?
It must be Damascus and transformative.
Do you have confidence that it will be?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Under the same leader? Or
there's no option. Otherwise, if we don't have the Damascus moment and it is not transformative, we are gone. So the people of Zimbabwe must know that. They have no choice. It must be transformative. There must be Damascus moment. There must be renewal. Of every strategy and idea, everything must change if MDC is still to survive. If MDC continues at this trajectory that is taken now,
you also spoke about
our future children will never know there was MDC.
You also spoke about the violence in the elections coming next year. But in the build-up to the elections and in on March 26th, we have seen less or actually no violence being targeted against yourself by those in state power. Do you think your party will be safe in 2023 as you go for election?
My party, I've admitted, we're going through a Damascus moment. So what happens before we turn into Paul? When Paul became Paul, he said, don't remind him about Saul. He hated Saul. Paul became the most traveled disciple of Jesus. The biggest Bible, the book of the New Testament, and the strongest word we have today was written by Paul when he transformed from Saul. So when we go into Paul, don't remind us about Saul. So as I speak right now, I'm transforming into Paul. Don't remind me about the Saul's time. I want to see a new MDC. the MDC that you want. That's what I want to say.
Then lastly, we just saw that you have continued with the recall, but yet you do not participate in the by-election. Any real reason why you would want to initiate a vacancy and not be interested in the party?
That's a political move. We also want the young people that are in these councils to be here. You see, we don't run the party from headquarters. And this party is devolved in terms of power. We've got provinces, we've got districts, everything else. So the young men and girls, the young men and women that are in those structures, they must be here. They must not create an environment in which they are going to be like what's happened in the by-election, in these recalls. Please just behave. They know very well that they are on those tickets as MDC Alliance councillors and deputy MP. Please just behave. Just behave. That's my advice to them.
As I normally do in closing, I allow you to, with message from your heart that you'd want to pass to the people of Zimbabwe. This is your time.
Thank you so much. My message from my heart, I want the political parties in Zimbabwe to immediately call for a national dialogue that is inclusive in nature. That includes the other stakeholders such as churches, labor, and other key stakeholders. I want them to immediately form a government of national unity, which includes all political parties in parliament, MDC, CC, and ZANU-PF, and other stakeholders. I want the Zimbabwean people to write their own future, which I want to call the Zimbabwean Charter. And I do believe when we then write our own Zimbabwean Charter as Zimbabweans, which has got the inclusive blessing of all political party stakeholders, one thing that we must deal with immediately is the suspension of sanctions on Zimbabwe. Sanctions on Zimbabwe are real, and they've contributed quite negatively on the economic growth of this country. I want them to be removed. They can be removed quite easily if we are united. They can be removed quite easily if we form a government of national unity. If we do that, the people of Zimbabwe will benefit. The government that's running the country now is like they are digging a mountain using pick and shovel when they are dynamites. So to me, a dynamite is the national dialogue, inclusive government. The Zimbabwean Charter must be written. People must come together, must be united. Don't wait for elections. They will not help you. They will simply help the members of parliament that will go in parliament, councillors that will become councillors, they will benefit. But the people of Zimbabwe that will be used to vote and that will die and be killed will continue to suffer and suffer and suffer until the next elections. So as far as I'm concerned, it's an innovative approach, it's an innovative strategy, after which I'm talking about after having studied and seen what is happening in all countries that went for the armed struggle. Those my sentimental words. And I want this message to reach to President Mnangagwa. I want this message to reach to President Nelson Chamisa. My president has already talked about it. President Mwonzora has already talked about it. I believe on that aspect he is correct.
Amazing. Thank you very much for joining me on the situation right now and sharing your views, your thoughts, and also shaping a national discourse as the nation goes to elections and the watershed election in 2023. Now, Zimbabweans, this nation belongs to all of us. We only have all but one country. It is our responsibility as citizens of this nation to contribute in building it and making it a better place. Not only for us, but even for our children, those who will come after us, those who also want to be able to live a better life. Now this is Heart and Soul TV and Radio, the alternative. This is the situation right now, and I am Dara B. Until next time. Thank you very much for joining us.